Let's talk about gardening. Come on in, welcome to my home. We are going to talk about gardening even though it is still February. I know it's early, maybe for some of you, kind of, but I want to get this year started off way better than I did last year. I want to start off things early because I want to have a really nice garden. And the thing to remember about my garden is it's 90% containers because I live in a condo and we really can't plant many things. Now, my gardening area is my mom's porch, my porch, and the little strip of land that we have around our condos. So, yeah, it's something that a lot of you are facing. A lot of you have the same challenges that I have. So let's get into this, and I'll explain to you exactly how this came about, simply because I found a book. The book is really cool. The book is called Container Gardening Month by Month. It's by Gloria Daniels. In this book, it really does go month by month, telling you exactly what you should be doing each month for that area. Gloria, I guess, does live in the same kind of climate that I live in the Midwest, so it was really helpful to look at things and say, hey, I should be doing this. One of the things which I realized I should be doing was planning for this year. I did love the containers that we had this year. It really looked nice. I thought we did a really good job making sure that everything grew, everything did what I wanted to do. There were problems. I'll admit it, there were some problems, and one of my first problems that I had was I had this idea that I could bring the containers that were outside inside and grow them inside, and that was a huge mistake on my part because I did not get rid of all the bugs that were in there, and then, anyway, I'm not going to do that again this year, but let's talk about what exactly that I did do and what worked and how I'm going to change it up this year. One of the things which I can say saved me the most time ever was the drip irrigation system. Setting the drip irrigation system up was really easy to do. It paid off like a lot simply because I originally had a drip irrigation system that had a timer on it, built in everything, so it would go off. However, the one thing I can tell you about drip irrigation systems is that you need to watch them. If you watch them, you're probably going to want to run the line or walk the line while it's running, so having a timer on my drip irrigation system didn't really pay off simply because I was walking the line already. So, yeah, that was its own thing. The one thing that I did notice is by the time we got all the way over to Mom's area, the drip irrigation system was like sort of hard to run because there was a lot of stuff of water. The pressure just went down. So this year I am going to amp up the feed. So the main line which runs off your drip irrigation system, which sort of works like your water line inside your house, I'll have two lines which goes from my hose. One will go towards my place, the other one will go towards Mom's place, and then I'll run those two main lines and then branch off of those. Those are going to become half-inch lines instead of the quarter-inch that I ran this time. And then everything which branches off of that will be quarter-inch, which is fine. The other thing which I found that the drip irrigation tubing, the brown tubing, worked a lot better than those sprinkler type heads. I didn't care for those whatsoever. So I will be using the drip irrigation, I will be using the drip tubes again. Once again, that really worked well. And this year I also want to do some seed starting. Now, what was supposed to happen right now I should have had these really cool things I could show you that I got. And guess what? They're not coming in until tomorrow. I need to film this today, but I can at least tell you what I got. So the things that I ordered was the 16-cell self-watering ultimate grow system. These are all from Burpee, organic coconut coir concentrate seed starting soil, a petunia pinky pop hybrid, and basil, sweet basil. I love sweet basil. Now I'm going to be getting some other seeds because I want to do more starting from seed this year than I did last year, which was basically none. So my goal this year is to plant things like tomatoes. The tomatoes worked really well last year. But I know something for certain. If you live in an area where you cannot just dump all of your soil and redo soil again, because I really can't. I don't have a spot to dump it. I would be dumping a lot of soil. Most people put it in their compost, that sort of thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the soil, also put in things like, fertilizers, those sort of things, but I'm also going to rotate. I'm going to rotate my crops so that I'm only going to grow one tomato this year, but my tomato is not going to be growing in the same container. That's a big thing. Think about when farmers do their soil, they don't grow the same plants in the soil all the time. No, they rotate crops. So that's what I'm going to do with my containers. I am going to make sure that they have lots of fertilizer and those sort of things, but I'll rotate it. And you're asking yourself, what am I going to grow? Well, the reason that I've got the basil, so I'm going to have basil, marigolds, and then the tomato, simply to help keep pests away from the tomato. Hopefully that'll work. Hopefully this year I won't have any pest like I did 2 years ago when I had the hookworm or the hook caterpillar, which devastated my tomato, like devastated it. Last year I did not have very many pests simply because I had the marigolds around the tomato, which really did help keep the pests away. So that is something to think about when you are planting. What companion plants can you plant to help do things? Now, the one thing which Mom has requested, and why I ordered the petunias, was we really found that the sweet potato vine grew really well at Mom's place. I mean, it grew fantastic. However, she did not like it. To her, it was just a whole bunch of leaves that just grew wild and grew really fast. And they did. They really grew fast. So this year I'm going to concentrate more on petunias in her area, which will be good. I'm also going to add more soil to the pots at her place, simply to bring up the level a little higher, so that there'll be just a 1-inch lip around it when I water it. That way it'll keep the water in. The drainage is really well. It's all set up nice for that. And that part I really like. That I really thought was great. My house has always been more of the production end. I'm doing things more along the lines of like herbs. The one container will have herbs in it. The one thing which I am excited to grow is I'm going to grow lemongrass this year. That should be really fun because I want to try to do some cooking with lemongrass. So I'll be ordering that. And yes, you will get to follow along with this. And one of the things which I found was another book by Gloria Daniels. The book is How to Keep a Garden Journal. It's pretty straightforward. Do you need a book to learn how to keep a garden journal? Probably not. Is it worth it? Yes, because it will remind you to do things, to keep things in a way that you can understand, that you can keep track of. Where did I get this item? What is this item? When did I plant it? All of those things can go down into your gardening journal. And that's what I am going to really concentrate on this year. I'm going to keep records, meaning I'm going to take photographs. So if you want to follow me on social media, check down below and check those social medias, because I am going to do more with keeping up with the photographs and that sort of thing. But I'm also going to do more along the lines of just keeping track of, did it rain, the humidity, that sort of thing, so that way I know when things get watered, when things got done, when did it get fertilized, and there's not a guessing game, because as much as we might think that we remember things, we don't. No, I don't. I'm getting old, I'll admit it. And it's okay. Writing things down, having this journal, so that way you can even document, well, this plant worked really well in my area. This plant did not work well in this area, so I moved it, it did better. You can keep all of that information, and it's wonderful. When you have all that information, you have something to go on. And next year, I'll have even more information to keep going. And I can keep track of what I had in each pot, so that way I can keep rotating my plants, and it's not pulling the same nutrition out of all of the soil. It's going to be different. Now, the one thing that I did do this year, a little bit, I didn't do a ton of, is like things like peels, those sort of things. I did throw that into the pots that were outside of my house a little. Not a lot, because I don't have the capability, I don't have the ability to do things like a compost. I would love to have one of those composters that you can just throw things in and have it turn it into compost. I don't have that. So I tried the whole dumping it into the soil, then this spring when I mix up the soil, I'll mix it up, and hopefully that will work. It'll help break it down. We'll see how that turns out. I'll let you know and everything. But this should be an exciting year for my flowers and plants because it will be really cool. Now, the one thing that I am going to definitely do is, aside from getting a new splitter, so that way when I put in that 1/2-inch pipe, it will have the 1/2-inch tubing, it will have a way to split that. Now, indoor, yeah, I had a problem. One of the problems was, and I mentioned this earlier, was the fact that when I brought my plants in from outside, I had some insects. And the problem became keeping those insects at bay, and it devastated some of the things. In fact, a lot of the plants that I had died simply because of the insect manifestation, and so I had to figure out what to do. This year I am going to make sure that it stays separate. The inside plants will stay inside, the outside plants will stay outside. But the thing I'm most excited about is a bay laurel. I have that coming on May 1st. It will ship out, and it will be exciting because I do cook with bay leaves. I think they're wonderful, and I'm also going to be adding back my chives. I have my rosemary, which has been growing for years now. I am going to have parsley, sage, and then probably a little bit of thyme because I do like thyme. I might add some other herbs in there, I don't know. I'm going to have to do something about the ridiculous amount of aloe that I have. Yeah. And what's interesting is the one big aloe is the top of the other one. It was growing so big and spreading out that I had to cut it down. Now I need to repot all those aloes, put the babies into other pots, and probably either give them away or sell them. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I need to thin down my aloe collection. Yeah. I do want to get more inside plants. I'd like to have some ivy and that sort of thing. But the whole planning, this is the great stage where I can look back and say, what do I really want? And like I said, for Mom's going to concentrate once again more on flowers. So the petunias, probably do some gardenias. We'll see. We'll see what happens with her, because it'll be more of what she wants versus more of what I want her to grow, because I was really, really happy with the sweet potato vines. She was not. I might even try doing ginger this year inside in containers. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you are doing this year with your plants, with your everything. Are you keeping a garden journal? If you want to follow along with my garden journal, I'm going to try to post that probably at least once a week or once a month. We'll probably start off with once a month in the YouTube, what are those called? Post, okay. I will probably try to keep my garden journal going at least once a month in the YouTube post. If you're really excited to see how I'm doing, you can join channel members, or you can become part of the Patreon family, and there I'll be talking about these things more as I go along, especially like the unboxing of the package that's going to come tomorrow and should have been in this. You'll know when I start my seeds, and they also are helping me keep this channel going. I really want to thank these people, because without them I wouldn't be able to order all of these different plants and things, and I wouldn't be able to keep these things going for the way that I want to. This year should be an exciting year for my outdoor plants, and then I'm going to be reading more about the plants that I'm growing. So you can also check out the book club, which is every second Tuesday of the month, and that's going to be different books. They aren't all going to be plant related, but if you have some ideas or suggestions, let me know down in the comments. And will I grow some sweet potato vines this year? You're just going to have to wait and see. This will be an exciting year. I am all ready. Am I going to draw up diagrams? We'll see. I don't know. But at least I know where I'm going. I'm getting all the stuff that I need. I have some idea. Now is your time. Start planning. Start planting. If it's available. Now, I will tell you that my last frost date is supposed to be May 1st. Yeah, so that's why I planned this early, so that way I can get all that time to get all those plants together, and we'll be ready to go. I hope I get to hear from you soon, and I hope I get to see you again the next time you stop by.